The air inside the Slater family home is heavy with grief, yet at the same time filled with a flurry of movement, calls being made, lists being scribbled on scraps of paper, neighbors stopping by with casseroles and flowers. For Debbie Slater, the heartbroken mother of 19-year-old Jay, who was found dead after disappearing in Tenerife's treacherous mountains, it is this busyness that is saving her from collapsing entirely. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll fall apart if I stop, she admitted tearfully to a close friend, her voice trembling but determined. I have to keep moving, keep planning. It's the only way I can get through this. A mother's unimaginable pain. The discovery of Jay's body has ended weeks of desperate searching, false sightings, and agonizing uncertainty. But for his mother, the real torment has only just begun. Grief, she has realized, is not something that simply washes over you in waves. It is an ocean in which you must learn to swim or else drown. For Debbie, keeping busy with funeral plans has become a fragile lifeline. She pores over details others might consider trivial, which photographs of Jay should be displayed, what songs should be played as his coffin is carried, which flowers he would have liked best. Each decision feels monumental, because each one is an attempt to honor the boy who should never have been taken from her so soon. When I'm sitting in silence, the pain is unbearable, she confessed. But when I'm organizing something for him, for his day, I feel like I'm still being his mom, like I'm doing something for him one last time. The weight of arrangements. In the days since his body was flown back to the UK, Debbie has been consumed by funeral preparations. Far more than a logistical exercise, this process has become her shield against despair. Family members describe how she starts her mornings early, notebook in hand, cross-checking times with the funeral director, confirming numbers with the caterer, and rearranging flower orders to make sure everything feels just right. Her sister, Leslie, shared quietly, Debbie isn't just organizing a funeral. She's trying to pour all her love for Jay into this day. It's exhausting her, but it's also keeping her going. She says if she lets herself stop for even a minute, she'll break. The funeral director, moved by her intensity, gently reassured her, "You don't need to do everything alone." But Debbie shook her head. "I do. I need to. It's the last thing I'll ever do for my boy." Choosing the songs. One of the hardest tasks has been choosing the music. Jay was a teenager of his time, a mix of modern beats and timeless classics, with playlists that bounced between rap, dance anthems, and old favorites his parents played in the car. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Debbie spent hours scrolling through his Spotify, tears streaming down her face, listening to songs he had saved. She laughed through the sobs when she stumbled on a cheesy pop anthem he used to belt out off-key with friends. "That one has to go in," she whispered to herself, already imagining the bittersweet smiles it would bring to the mourners. Music, she decided, should not just break hearts, but also reflect the joy of his life. He wouldn't want people sitting there in silence, just crying, she told a cousin. He'd want them to remember his cheeky grin, his daft dancing. He'd want people to smile, even if their eyes are full of tears. Photographs and memories. The living room table is now covered in stacks of photographs. Jay as a laughing toddler with chocolate on his face. Jay proudly holding a fishing rod beside his dad. Jay in his prom suit. Jay goofing around on nights out with friends. Each photo sparks a fresh ache, but also a flood of memories that allow Debbie to keep him close. She insists on a large display board at the funeral, a wall of Jay, as she calls it, where mourners can see every stage of his short but vibrant life. "People will see how much he lived, how much he was loved," she said, carefully sliding pictures into frames. The support and the silence. Neighbors and strangers alike have reached out, delivering meals, offering transport, or simply sitting quietly with her when words fail. A GoFundMe set up during the search has become a source of financial relief, covering repatriation costs and now helping to fund the funeral. Yet for all the support, Debbie also experiences moments of crushing solitude. The house, once alive with Jay's booming voice and heavy footsteps, feels unbearably still at night. "It's the silence that hurts the most," she admitted. The silence where he should be. The day ahead. Though the funeral is still days away, Debbie already envisions it in her mind. She imagines the long line of mourners stretching down the street, the church filled with flowers, and the hushed murmur of friends and family sharing stories about Jay. She has asked everyone to wear a splash of blue, Jay's favorite color, to honor him. She believes it will create a sea of brightness in what would otherwise be a dark day. Funerals are for the living as much as for the dead, she told her brother. And I want this one to help us all remember Jay not just in sorrow but in love. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Grief Behind the Strength. Yet, even as she pushes through her grief by keeping busy, cracks inevitably appear. She breaks down mid-conversation, clutching Jay's hoodie to her chest. She stares blankly at her phone, scrolling through old messages she can no longer reply to. She wakes in the night, calling his name before remembering he is gone. Her friends worry she is bottling up too much pain behind the mask of activity. But Debbie insists she has no choice. If I let myself stop, if I let myself think too much, I'll crumble. I'll fall apart completely. And I can't. Not until his day is done. The community's role. In Jay's hometown, shops and schools have already begun planning tributes. Local pubs plan to raise a glass in his memory, while the football team he once cheered for will hold a minute's silence. The sense of community pride in honoring him mirrors the support Debbie has clung to since the tragedy began. This town has wrapped its arms around us, she said softly. It makes me feel like Jay's life mattered to everyone, not just to me. Looking beyond the funeral. For now, Debbie's focus is fixed firmly on the funeral. But those closest to her worry about the days that will follow. Once the flowers have withered and the mourners have gone home, she will face the long stretch of grief without distraction. I know the hardest part will be afterwards, she admitted. When there's nothing left to plan, no phone calls to make, no lists to tick off. That's when it will really hit me. Her sister has promised to stay by her side, making sure she isn't swallowed by loneliness. Friends encourage her to seek grief counseling, though she hasn't decided yet. One step at a time, she tells them. Let me get through his day first. Holding on to Jay. Every parent who loses a child faces the impossible task of carrying love with no place to put it. For Debbie, the funeral is her chance to channel that love one final time. But beyond that day, she says she will keep speaking his name, sharing his stories, and carrying him in her heart. People say time heals, she reflected. But I don't think this kind of wound ever heals. I just hope time teaches me how to live with it. She paused, looking out of the window as though half expecting to see Jay bounding up the path, phone in hand, calling Mum. Then she whispered, almost to herself, I'll never stop being his mum. Not ever. Conclusion. As she throws herself into the tasks of funeral planning, Debbie Slater is not only building a farewell, but also creating a fragile scaffolding to hold herself upright in the midst of grief. The lists, the calls, the endless decisions, they are more than practicalities. They are survival. She knows the day will come when the busy work is gone, and she will face the raw ache of loss with nothing to distract her. But for now, she keeps moving, keeps planning, keeps being Jay's mum in the only way left to her. Because if she doesn't, as she has said so plainly, she will fall apart. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.